Welcome, welcome, welcome. I would like to welcome all of you who have tuned in to RizTalks. And RizTalks, as you know, is my initiative to bring to people what I call the ACE. I believe there are people all around us who are achieving creative excellence through their work, through their mission, and whatever they are doing. And I always bring to my channel people who been achievers or who I consider as ace because in the last couple of months I have met a gentleman who has really uh, been very much an inspiration to me, uh, and I would like to introduce him to you. And his name is Mr. Bharat Gothoskar, and I will not give a detailed intro for him. I would like him to introduce himself, but I can give you a small intro. He's the CEO of Khaki Tours and Khaki Heritage, one of the leading uh, ambassadors of Mumbai. I wouldn't say like
Mhm.
tour operators, but what he likes to talk about is being an ambassador of Mumbai. And I'm really glad to have him here this afternoon, and we'll definitely get a lot of things to talk about. So thank you very much, Bharat, for
Thank you.
being here and giving us your valuable time. So, Bharat, let's start off with uh, letting us know more about yourself and how the Khaki brand or Khaki came into uh, realization.
Yeah. So I'm a Mumbai-born person who has stayed in this city for almost 5 decades now and in love with the city. Since childhood, I realized one thing that Mumbaikars in particular and Indians in general are not much aware about their history, heritage, culture, and don't take pride in it. So I believe that somebody should do it. I waited for a long time, yeah, that somebody will start an organization. Then one day I said that if nobody else is doing it, it's high time I should start something like this, right? So the intention of starting this was to make complex things simple, which are palatable to a far wider section of society. Now, probably those who are interested in history, heritage, culture might be just 2% of the population of India, right? You have to convert others, right? And that's why we call this heritage evangelism. We convert people to appreciate art, history, architecture, all these aspects. Uh, Many a times, people who are experts in this love to complicate things, right? So our mission is to make it really simple so that the lowest common denominator will be able to appreciate these things and propagate it, take it to other people. That is what my aim always has been. It started with conducting free walks. In course of time, went out of hand. Had to create an organization. I had never. This was when I came up with the concept of khakitours. It is something that I would do after retirement. I thought. Right? I never thought that I'll end up doing it in my early 40s, but thankfully I did it. And in spite of the pandemic, in spite of all other, and not being from a family of entrepreneurs, right, it allowed, yet I took the risk, and I'm happy I did that, because it created a solid organization with so many people involved in running it out of passion.
So now that you say that you're not from a family of entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
what really made you? What was that thing that drove you towards going this? Going into your history, I hope it's not being personal, but what
No,
is
no,
it that
no.
really is driving you in this particular
Yeah, so
journey?
probably I we are so trained to be part of the rat race, yeah, that you secure yourself, you secure everything, and like most Maharashtrians have a good stable job is what people would aim at. So as I said, entrepreneurship did not come naturally to me, but the passion overrides everything else, right? And you can't just keep on waiting, that can't postpone it beyond the point. uh, when you see, when I started free walks, I realized the expectations from people were very, very high. They never looked at it as just another walking tour company. They genuinely believed that this will be the catalyst which will transform the city to make it more enriched. So I'm blessed with a whole host of people who believe in the mission and have joined, as the famous line says, मैं अकेला ही चल पड़ा था मगर लोग आते गए और कारवा बनता गया. So that's how the caravan has increased multifold, and now there are almost, I would say, people hosting, backend, friends of Khaki who are there to support, and more than 100 people who are madly involved in this enterprise. So
Wow,
that's it.
wow. That's a real growth, I would say. Now, yes, Bharat, what I mean to ask you is where are the seeds of this particular initiative sown? Do you see yourself in the childhood, or where
Yeah.
does this really originate, if I would like to know?
I would say there are multiple sources. My parents certainly were an inspiration, though they were not into anything related to heritage or architecture. Father was a journalist, so I've learned how to communicate complex things in a simple manner in a short span of time, right? Probably from him. Mother is from arts background, so appreciating arts and other things, finer things in life is something that I learned from her. But I think so. One person, if you have to thank, it's a lady called Sharda Dwivedi, who for many Mumbaikars in the 80s and 90s, until she passed away about 10 years back, she created the bedrock of heritage activism in the city, where common man would be involved. Yeah. And she was able to take her thoughts through books, articles. Sadly, at that time, internet was not that strong. Otherwise, she would have really made a larger impact with the kind of social media and podcast and digital space that we have today. If she had access to that, she would have had major impact. But I always believe if one generation has left behind, somebody has to work on it and take it to the next level. It's any sort of field that you believe strongly in. There has to be a baton that has to be passed from one person to another, and that's what I realized with her, that she was an individual. She didn't create an organization. Had she created an organization, it would have outlived her. Work would have outlived her. So with that in mind, I decided that it's better to create an organization of people who will take forward your goals. Yeah, and that's how Khaki was born.
And I see that Bharat, the team that you're talking about, the 100 people, you have a very unique way of selecting people to be a part of Khaki, isn't it? It's not like you just put your CV up and you get appointed. There is a grueling process, I see. So is that because you think there is a kind of a passion that you expect your team to be not just an employee, but a integral part of the organization?
So anybody who wants to be part of Team Khaki, I always say, if Khaki's mission is not one of your top 3 priorities in life, then you shouldn't be here, right? You have to believe what Khaki stands for, right? You have to bleed Khaki, as they say. You have to bleed blue, when you are passionate about Indian cricket. So you have to bleed Khaki. If that is the case, then you will be, you will believe. Your passion will be seen by others, right? Your love for the city, your love for the heritage, architecture, culture will then, and that will convince 10 other people. And those 10 people will, that's how evangelism happens, right? From a religious angle, that's how evangelism happens, that somebody gets so involved in the message which is there that it is taken forward to others.
Very nice. So now that you see where Khaki is, I see that you have 2 different parts of Khaki. Khaki as the tour division and Khaki as the heritage. So what is the differentiation and what is the reason that you have these 2?
Yeah, so mission of both the organizations is same, but the activities that they do are different, right? One is a for-profit organization, which is Khaki Tours, which does experiential tours, whether they are walks, sailing tours, outbound tours, whatever, or walks in the city. All of them are meant so that people understand a particular part of the city better, right? In a easy to understand format. But because we started this, there are a lot of expectations that we should do conservation, we should write articles, we should speak to government whenever wrong decisions are being taken. How can you influence policy in the right way? Yeah, lobbying is a bad word, but I would say how can we influence policy towards betterment of the city, and that's what we have always tried for. Now, all that is not possible for a tour company to do. So in that case, you need another organization which is clearly, when it is incorporated, is not for profit, so that others can contribute, whatever they can. If they have money, they can contribute money. They have expertise, time, whatever they want to contribute, they can contribute towards achieving the mission. So mission is same, heritage evangelism. But how can a travel company do talks? How can a travel company release books? So all that would come from the Khaki Heritage Foundation part. So Khaki Tours supports Khaki Heritage Foundation financially, while Khaki Heritage Foundation is a fountainhead of knowledge, which benefits Khaki Tours certainly, yes, but benefits everybody in the city. So I'm right now sitting in what is known as the Khaki Lab, which is in Kala Ghoda area. And here we have a library for all the books related to Mumbai. We have a space called the Bandler room where talks, workshops happen, right? So we do a lot of work. A lot needs to be achieved. And when people from the city would like to contribute in whichever way they can, they get involved in the Khaki Heritage Foundation. That's how we are able to achieve many things that we have. Yeah. Most importantly, making sure that the government, we do a lot of how do I say, sensitization sessions for government employees, so that they are more sensitive, even politicians, that they are sensitive to what is heritage and why it should be conserved.
So that is a part which is basically to take take Khaki to a broader spectrum and
Exactly.
to,
Exactly.
to increase the reach of Khaki to not just what it is right now, but on a broader spectrum to the decision makers and to the people who really can bring some
Exactly.
awareness and change to this particular mission or you have,
And
right?
I think the biggest help has been the media. Yeah, because many of the journalists have realized the true mission of what we are doing. They don't look at us as just another travel company. They realize the mission, and then hence they are so supportive about writing articles, making documentaries about us. And I jokingly say we indulge in paid PR, where the journalist pays for the walk and then writes about it. Yeah,
Is that true? Is
when
that
most
true?
of the world is doing the other way around,
So they
So
pay for the tour and they
yes, they
actually
do.
write
Many
on.
of them insist. Many of them insist on
Wow.
paying for the walks, and then they write about it in their newspapers, on their websites, sometimes influencers on their Instagram. As I always say, uh, our marketing budget is zero. Okay, everything that we do comes from word of mouth and recommendations by people who have experienced what Khaki does, and they believe in the mission and hence propagate it to a wider section of society. We post things on social media, people retweet, post on their walls, whatever, and reaches a wider section of society. Today, we have a database of 30,000 people in Mumbai who are interested in history, heritage, culture, art, who regularly come for different events. Like we do a free talk about some aspects or Mumbai or even beyond Mumbai, related to history, culture, art, architecture, those aspects. Every Saturday consistently, we'll soon be doing a 200th talk, Saturday talk. and consistently we have been doing this. So I have to be very thankful to the team, because they believe it's not possible for one man to do all this. Yeah. So there are different aspects of the mission which different people own. Yeah. And when I say own, with their heart, not with money, they own different aspects of the mission and ensure that they deliver for it. That's all.
So that means the Khaki brand is growing almost organically, you would say, right? There is that
Totally.
that would be a point of what do you call it? A lot of consideration, because there are so many other competitors that you might have who are doing sort of advertising and marketing and so on, which is basically on the peripherals, right? Who are going all the way down and touching people on an emotional level, and really bringing out the passion and desire to work towards Khaki, right? So that journalist paying and coming to a walk is a real surprise to me. So that's a
Yeah.
real achievement, I would say. Uh, Another thing I would ask Bharat is, how do you see yourself as Khaki as compared to others who are doing something similar? What is your USP?
So I look at myself as a social entrepreneur. Most others in this business look at themselves as entrepreneurs. They might be passionate about tourism. I'm not doubting that at all. But they might not be passionate about history, heritage, culture the way we are. We are obsessed. We have OCD when it comes to these things, right? The kind of I don't think so any other travel company in the world would be making their hosts go through 6 months of super rigorous training and elimination, right? Every year about 150 people apply for it, out of which about 40 are selected for training, out of which 6 7 pass. So I don't think so. That's quite a rigorous elimination, and they go
Only
through.
6 or 7. That is a
Yeah,
real funnel,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Funneling
yeah.
out to
Yeah,
the
so you
bottom.
have to have the best of best, and that's the reason we are considered to be. I mean, consistently, those who have experiences have said, and international travelers have said, you are the one of the best in the world when it comes to doing something experiential. Yeah, so because in that 2.5 or even 4 hours, they get the entire understanding of the city better than what most Mumbaikars will understand the city. Yeah, all aspects of the city. So it's like a crash course in understanding Mumbai in a simple manner, which they will remember. Yeah, so that's the whole idea.
What I see, Bharat, is that your program basically not only encompasses the geographical and historical part, but it also encompasses cultural, food, and other aspects which not everyone, I don't know for sure, but I don't think everyone really looks at it from that perspective. Would it be right to say that that could be one of your uh, USPs, as you don't only look at
Yeah,
the historic and
yeah,
geographic, but
yeah.
all the integrated
So
aspects?
I think so. There are two USPs that we get to the table. First is the fact that we have the ambassadors of Mumbai. They are not tourist guides. Yeah,
That
they
is
do
something
something
I
for
would like to ask you first.
yeah,
You
yeah.
always say that we are not tourist guides, we are ambassadors of Mumbai. If you could elaborate that before we go ahead, would that be
Yeah.
really?
So tourist guides are essentially people who would do standard stuff. Yeah. Uh, some of them might be brilliant, but not all of them necessarily. Right. And I've experienced many of them, not only in Mumbai, but outside Mumbai, for benchmarking purposes. Now, what happens is a tourist guide is more focused on getting over with a particular experience which is there in that, right? And a particular experience is done in a particular manner, right? And they would have 3 experiences. Here, people are trained to do more than 6 7 experiences minimum, and we have totally 70 experiences in Mumbai, which means we have more experiences than any other travel company in a particular city, the kind of offerings that we have. And uh, what happens is the tourist guide is not somebody who might have been trained at some point of time by the government, but what is latest, what is happening around the world, and about culture. The training program for guides usually focuses on history, but here we give a very, very wholesome thing, including civics, geography, geology, so that you understand the true essence of the city. You talk probably only 5% of what you know in your experience, but rest 95% is to answer the queries. And the strength of Khaki is almost 99.99% of your questions will be answered. If the person hosting is not able to answer, you'll come back to the core team, ask that question and try to solve it and send it back to the person who has asked that question, right? So that consistently happens, and the focus is on quality, right? Most importantly, when I say they are not typical tourist guides, they are not doing this for a living. Okay, they are paid the best in the industry, but this is not what they do. Something else in life. They take out time out of their busy schedules and then host walks. Example, we have an investment banker. We had an executive director of a no, those whatever Navratna companies in India. We had a plastic surgeon. We have a filmmaker. We have a photographer. We have conservation architects. So we have wide variety of people who, one of them last year's pass out is a diamond trader, right? Who has a jewelry shop. Now, why are these kind of people coming and hosting people? Because they feel they are giving back to the society. They believe in the mission, and that is what they are here for. And the second USP is that we customize the walk to who you are. If you're a Japanese artist, your curation of the same experience will be very different from what it would be for an Irish doctor. So for the doctor, the medical aspects along the walk will be highlighted. What is the contribution of Ireland and Irish people to the city? What is the connection of a Japanese people to the city? And the art history of the city will be highlighted. The base remains the same because the person knows far more than the script for a walk. He's able to, we don't give a script, we create a salad bar where the ambassador of Mumbai is able to create a salad which is customized to the person who is going to consume it. And that is why consistently people appreciate what we are doing.
And I can vouch for it because your curriculum itself is like a PhD, I would say. Like if you go through the curriculum of Khaki Tours, it basically doesn't leave anything to chance. That, and the good thing about it is that when you know all that, you can blend your knowledge into whatever comes your way, whoever you're facing. So you can actually pull out the right ingredients, is the recipe for that particular offering. So that's absolutely right. So that's what I love about Khaki Tours and their program. The other thing that I see, Bharat, is your involvement with Khaki. It looks like you're a 24/7 Khaki. And as you had mentioned in your interview, you said you live, breathe, eat. Everything is Mumbai and or everything is Khaki. So how does your regular day go by?
Oh, it's first of all, though I have OCD on many things, I'm not a very systematic person, right? I'm a right brain person. So I wouldn't say it's very difficult. Yeah, but my day starts pretty early. Yeah, I wake up at around 5 o'clock. So most people are shocked because most of the messages that they will get is around 5 o'clock in the morning, right? When I get up and I get some weird ideas, I'll start sending messages to different
Throwing them
people.
to
So
them.
it starts at and yeah, so I come to office almost 7 days a week. Yeah. Can't help. Yeah. Something or the other brings me to the office regularly. And most of our running of the business happens in different WhatsApp groups. Yeah. You would be shocked to know that we have more than 350 WhatsApp groups for Khaki, and sometimes people wonder how does this animal called Khaki work, but that's how it is. Yeah, it's quite it's weird that we are a collective of people and yet it's a company, right? It's a collective of like-minded people. Though I have established it, if there are various aspects, I have just given it away to different people. As long as I have confidence that they are working towards the mission, I'm happy to hand over those aspects to different people to run it.
So you have the right kind of people, and you can definitely rely on them to take your ideas forward without having
All I
to
can
do
say, all I can say, I'm blessed to have a brilliant set of people supporting, believing in me.
Great. So all credit goes to the Khaki Tour team,
Mm.
who I'm so sure they must be watching this video as we go forward. Another thing, Bharat, your intro says you are a mechanical engineer and
Yes.
have been in the corporate world for more than 17 years.
Yeah.
Having been into that kind of a level, what really makes you go jump away from that particular career, something like this, and taking that risk of uncertainty as we go forward? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. 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 So, as I said, this was a very I thought through it a lot before making the jump, right? I realized there are multiple gates, as they say in marketing, which I crossed before I took a call that I would be starting this company. But all this wouldn't have been possible without rock solid support of my wife, right? Because it's not easy when one spouse decides to do something so crazy without, and most people had warned me that this will never work. Yeah. No, you can't get Indians to be crazy about history, heritage, architecture. You're wasting your time, right? But I think I have been successful at proving them wrong, because last year some 18,000 people walked on the streets of Mumbai to experience something with Khaki, right? So that is all about conviction. But as I said, the support of my wife, my family, in terms of allowing me to do by not putting financial, mental, physical restrictions on many things that I have done. And in spite of the pandemic and problems that came during the pandemic, where, tourism is the first that is hit
Yeah.
when, a natural calamity comes, and last to recover of all the industries. Yeah. So, in spite of all that.
Tourism being a part of the industry which has not really boomed as expected, that is something which you to understand. So I think you have taken a leap of faith, which
Yes.
definitely uh, converted into a successful venture. How do you see yourself going forward? What is your vision going forward for Khaki to close
Yeah.
the whole process? Because I heard you talking about a lot of ideas going
Yeah.
forward. So would be
Yeah.
interesting to know.
Sure. So I believe walks are just one of the means to convert people, right? Some people get stimulated by audio, some by video, some by reading. So you have to create your message into using multiple mediums, yeah, which will then impact people differently, right? I see huge potential in using pop culture to get people interested in history, whether it is through OTT or comics or any of these aspects. We should employ them. We shouldn't be on a high pedestal. The problem is history is too important to be left to historians, right? You have to make it accessible to common man. And I think so. People like Uncle Pai, who when I was a child started Amar Chitra Katha, or Babasaheb Purandare, who made the Maratha history accessible to common man. Till then, it was written in large tomes in complicated language, which common man didn't have access. So that is what we are doing. We are just converting. We are using a different medium, and the medium changes as per the person who is there. So the potential is huge. I think so. I always believe conservation of various monuments in India is not possible because we are a developing nation, and government doesn't have all the money. But tourism can get a lot of money. And only last week I was in Turkey, and we could clearly see the kind of impact which is there through tourism, that they are able to conserve more and more monuments, and the world is paying for it. The tourists are paying to be engaged and seen, and they are happy. Everybody's happy without that. We sadly lack a tourism-oriented culture in this state, which hopefully Khaki will be able to bring eventually.
Okay, so what you mean to say is through the pop culture, through the mediums where you can reach the common man, you want to make it simple, interesting, and entertaining so that they find it interesting to know more about Bombay and the tourist.
I'll just give you an example if you don't mind,
Yeah.
because I did about 100 episodes of a series called Goshta Mumbaichi, which means Story of Mumbai in Marathi. Yeah, which is the dominant language of the state. And I think so we have more than 2 crore views of all the episodes put together. And we have been able to, when I walk on the streets of Mumbai, when a taxi wala, a Swiggy delivery guy, a dabba wala, even slum people come up to me and tell me that they have seen my videos and they understand Mumbai better. I think the best compliment I have got to date is that you have taken out history and heritage from the drawing rooms of South Bombay and brought it to the masses. Yeah, so
that's
that's
quite an achievement, Bharat. I would really say that using the current media, social media, to take this particular mission forward, I think it's a very intelligent move, and I am sure that Khaki is going to go a long way in the coming future. First of all, thank you very much for giving me your valuable time and so much interesting facts that you have shared with us. And I am really very interested to see how Khaki will be in the next few years. And I'm wishing you all the best on your journey and your enterprise going and making a mark internationally, I hope so. So thank you very much, Bharat, for being here.
Thank you.
And I hope that we'll keep in touch, and wishing you all the best for Khaki.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.